away so that we can get as much time as possible from Hillary. How we're going to do this is Hillary's going to speak to you. She's going to speak to you about her experiences, and you're going to be wowed. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to be wowed. You're going to be in awe, and you're probably going to have a lot of questions, or maybe want to hear a story from her or something like that. So if you are interested in speaking out, you can do that. If you would rather write it into the chat box, you can also do that, and I will read it for you. Okay, so with that said, everyone that is not speaking, please mute yourself. Please have your cameras on, be engaged in the conversation, and I'm going to give it away to Megan and Emily to introduce our first speaker.
All right, hi, I'm Megan. So I'm going to start. With the love and passion for the fashion industry over the last 46 years, the last 26 have been spent at Bergdorf Goodman as the fashion and home consultant. Before her start, she held positions in advertising at agencies like Benton & Bowles and Kenyon and Eckhart, and started a company named Photo Art in which she turned black and white portraits into creative art. She also started Shop Girl New York, where her passion for fashion and tabletop showed through, doing fashion styling, wardrobe editing, closet organization, event services, and table settings.
Her long-term goal is to build a sense of community and style through her Instagram at Hillary_says. The meaning of bringing comfort to her audience when they are in need of fashion advice, place of sharing experiences, questions, tips, recipes, and so much more. With all these experiences and journeys she has pushed through her life, we would love to introduce to you all Hillary Tannenbaum Weinstein. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to all of you who participated in making this possible. Juliana, Cassidy, and you girls were great. Thank you for the bio. I'm really honored to be here today. One thing I love most about growing old in the business is that you accumulate so much knowledge, and it's a treat to be able to pass on all that I've learned to you guys. And I hope you will find it inspirational, and I hope that I can help in some way. You can always reach out to me. I mentor young women. I hire them as my assistants. My two assistants are here today, Harley and Victoria. I'll just introduce them so you can see Harley and Victoria with me. Can you see that? So this is Harley and this is Victoria. They are my right and left arms. They're amazing, and they're such a big part of how the stylist and at Hillary says keeps on going and came to be. We're a true team. So I want to make sure you know them. And I'll begin. I prefer when people ask me questions so I don't ramble on forever. But I always had a passion for art from the time I was a young kid. I told Juliana, my mother and father used to go out for dinner, and they'd come home and I'd have painted flowers on the toilet seats, just because that was a great activity and a way to be creative. So I always had that. I also grew up with a mom who was extremely fashion oriented. If it was beautiful, she bought it. She had to have it. And so I always grew up with her love for pretty things and for fashion. And it was a big influence on me. And she was, in that generation that sort of it wasn't yet established where women had careers. So most women, if they did have careers, were teachers or nurses, women who could be home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when their kids got out of school and still make dinner. It wasn't like it is today. But she inspired me to follow my dreams. And my father wanted me to be a school teacher, so of course I'd be home at 3 o'clock. But I got most of my inspiration from her. I had a lot of influences in my life. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I went to Syracuse University, the School of Visual and Performing Arts, where I was a fashion illustration and design major. I had an uncle who was a fashion designer and had a company, and I worked for during summers, and always thought I wanted to be a fashion designer. I kind of still do. I also wanted to be a film director. I wanted to be Carol Burnett at one time, loved comedy. So had a lot of things, but I think it all just filtered out that I wanted a career. I wanted to do more. And so when I graduated, I tried to work in the fashion industry, mostly in retail. And I bumped into a cousin of mine and he said, a friend of mine is a creative director at a big 10 ad agency. I think you'd be perfect because you know how to draw. So I met with John Gona, who wound up to be my boss and close friend for my life here. And I went to work in advertising. I made television commercials and print ads. I eventually became a senior art director. And I think, although I didn't understand it that well at the time, everything I learned there is really filtered out in The Stylist and Hillary Says. And I can see it clearly. People even ask me, you must have been in advertising or something when they look at my page. So I now work at Bergdorf Goodman. I'm here, as everyone knows, we'll fast forward 26 years. I actually started as Christmas help. When I got divorced, I needed to get a job. I had two small children, a son and a daughter, and I needed to make a living. So I came here as Christmas help. I won't lie, a good friend of mine said, oh, I'll get you married in 15 minutes. Get a job at Bergdorf in the men's store. You'll meet a nice guy. You'll be out of there when Christmas is over. But of course, that didn't happen. 26 years later, I'm still here. And I developed my clientele from scratch, from the beginning. My kids are flashing me. Hi, Mom, we're both
Your
on.
kids are on. Thank you so much for being here.
And Josh Tannenbaum. Hi, guys. Two loves of my life. I also have two very overachieving, successful children in Britt and Josh. They're amazing. And one day you'll get to meet them, I hope. I also actually have two children that belong to my husband, who I'm with almost 25 years now, Nikki and Ricky, and they're also amazing. And we have a nice, really successfully well-blended family. And it's great that everybody has significant others or husbands and wives, 4 grandchildren, kind of busy and fun. But anyway, getting back to Bergdorf, I started here as Christmas help in the Christmas department as a part-time. And I would go home exhausted. In those days, you weren't allowed to sit down. You didn't have desks, so I was on my feet all day, which was exhausting. I used to come home with sparkles, covered in sparkles from the Christmas ornaments. Didn't always think it was fun. But it led me to do some fun things and meet some fun clients. Actually, one of my very first clients is the woman who introduced me to you, Robin. Robin Rubenstein is with us. Oh, and Ann Sue. Hi, Ann Sue. Thank you for coming. Ann Sue is a new friend. Anyway, so eventually I started to build a business and a following. And a lot of those people that I started with many years ago, like Robin Rubenstein, has been with me 18 years. I'm still very close to and work with today. And fashion has always been a passion of mine, as I said. And I think when COVID hit, we needed to do something happy. We needed to keep busy. And I had always wanted to do a blog, actually. And I thought about it and I wrote like a whole paragraph, which is essentially what you girls read about me that I gave you. And I was going to do this as a blog in written form and give advice, fashion advice. I felt no one was giving anybody fashion advice. No one was teaching people how to be fashion independent. I'm a big believer in independence because, you know, I was divorced once with 2 kids and I had to start from scratch when all my friends were married and having vacations and, you know, buying homes. And here I was looking for a job. So I really believe in being independent in people having careers, women especially, because it was something that wasn't always supported. And I'm really happy that I'm fashion independent and I love my career. So anyway, I think the whole point is that COVID hit and I decided to start an Instagram account. A lot of people at Bergdorf had them, but you know, to me, it was like a magazine where you thumb through and all the pictures are the same. It's this dress or it's other things, but it's just a lot of the same. And I wanted to make it different and I wanted to make it special. There it is, Hillary says. And I wanted it to be a magazine advice. I wanted to advise on what I thought great things were for each season, what to buy. I wanted to advise on everything. And so we did this. My idea was to make it editorial and a magazine and to have more than just fashion, but to be able to impart advice on things that people wanted to know about. What to wear this dress with, what shoe, what bag, how to alter it. Do you need a cardigan over it? Should you add a sleeve to it? All the questions that I get on a daily basis. So I wanted to be able to help people get answers to those things and have a little fun during COVID. So I came up with the idea of the style list, which I am, well, my girls call me a taste curator. I love that. But a stylist is more than a personal shopper. I like to think of myself as more than a shopper, more than someone who knows merchandise and just puts merchandise in a room. It takes more thought, hopefully more talent to be able to put things together in a way that works for each person. And there is an art to doing it. I like to think that I'm kind of a chameleon because I dress young girls from 13 years old when they have bar mitzvahs and communions and things, and I dress women that are 80-year-olds. So you kind of have to be a chameleon. You kind of have to think, how would I want to look if I was Mrs. Smith and I was 62 years old and this was my lifestyle? How would I dress? Doing that, that's what helps me make smart choices on behalf of my clients. So that's what I tried to do in The Stylist, and Hillary says that was our September issue you're looking at now on the screen. And I wanted to give people great suggestions, and we developed it in a fun way. I wanted it to look editorial. I love the numbers. There you can see my advertising design experience, my print work. And so we developed The Stylist as like the magazine cover. And Hillary says is the content of the magazine. So as you can tell, like with Deirdre Featherstone, whom I love, good friend and talented jeweler, we did these numbers, and one was convertible earrings, so you could get 2 different tops. 2 was necklaces, 3 was pearls, 4 was rings, 5 was bracelets, and so on. And then we did topics in each. So every day we'd have 2 posts, and each post would be one of those numbers above in The Stylist, and you would get 8 or 9 options. And also to make it fun, we threw in beauty, and we have my friend Richard Grandinetti, who I know for 45 years already, and he's an amazing makeup artist and a skincare specialist. And we thought it would be fun to have Richard give advice, because I'm not the best person to come to for makeup. I'm a little galactically challenged when it comes to that, but I know the right people. So Richard is our beauty guru. And my dear friend, Alex Romero, who I know for 20 some odd years here, and he's been my jewelry partner and my kind of work husband. And my real husband understands and is okay with that. I'm married now to Bobby Weinstein, who is my soulmate and love of my life, along with, I have a dog, I'm a rescue person, Irving. Meant to throw that in there because I love animals. I love Maine. I have lots of hobbies like that. And all of these things have been my inspiration for how I put things together and what I choose. So anyway, so At Hillary Says is the bulk of the magazine. It's all those pages in between that give you the guts of what each issue is about. And so we tailor it in the same editorial way as Vogue or any other fashion magazine. We talk about pre-fall, we talk about topics like jewelry. We do a Mother's Day issue, one of my favorites. It was a fun issue, love the color there. And our whole idea when I started this, I said to Victoria and Harley, let's keep a sense of community. We're in COVID. We want to, stay connected to everybody and hope for better days and keep them in on fashion and help them still get what they need while they're keeping safe. They can still keep in style. And so basically that's where it started. And actually, we're all a little shocked. In the 9 months, I mean, really, I didn't know anything much about Instagram until 9 months ago. And my girls will attest, Carly and Victoria will say that I'm annoying because I keep asking the same thing over and over because I don't still understand certain things. But let's see, I would say that I've learned a lot about Instagram in these 9 months. I love it. And in just this short amount of time, we have over 3,000 followers. So definitely follow me on Hillary Says. It's great. And it's a lot of fun. We also do recipes. We have people participate. Send us your recipes, your book recommendations. We do style dish. And now this February was our first monthly publication. Kind of got a little tricky and hard to keep up the pace on a weekly basis. And I think people were missing certain things, didn't have time to really get to everything or focus on everything before the next issue came out. So what we did was we transformed a little bit to become a monthly issue and to do what we do in a week spread over a month. This allows you guys to focus more on those topics and really get into it and see all the different options. And it also allows us to do more in our stories. We could look back and do retrospects. We can do just some great things with it. What am I missing, Victoria? Oh, we're adding themed things. Yeah, we're gonna have next week, we're gonna do a lot of Valentine's things in our stories to give extra suggestions for things like that that may not have anything to do with pre-orders, but just happen to fall out in the same month as this, where we have a lot on pre-order for the new season ahead, spring 2021. So we're going to be able to do a lot of great things. We're going to be able to do retrospects. We're going to repost some things. We want to do some great video work. We're going to have the DMM here in the store for women's ready to wear. His name is George Fountas. We're going to do segments with him called season updates, and he's going to come every season, give us an update of what the looks are, what the trends are, what's big, what new vendors BG brought in, what they do best, and so on. And what else are we doing, Carl? Oh, Hillaryisms, my particular favorite. Hillaryisms are my words of wisdom, and Robin, you can attest to this. I always have these catchy sayings, and I had a client once who was in the closet wardrobe business, and she said to me, I love your isms. I said, what? She said, you should call them Hillaryisms and you should do something with that. So we're doing Hillaryisms. And they're all my little sayings or things that you can remember and keep with you. I like to help you be fashion independent as well. And so some of the topics are like that you're gonna see are fashion is math. And I explain how proportion enters into fashion, which will help you when you alter things. It will help you when you buy things like if you bought a wide leg pant, you might want to narrow a shirt so you don't drown, in a lot of fabric and things like that. So it's more advice driven. So you're going to see Hillaryisms. I think the first Hillaryism airs Monday. Yep, next Monday, the 8th. We're going to have Hillaryisms. So they're fun. And what else are we doing?
Hillary, I'd love to
Oh,
ask.
we're going to do a hawk list. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I'd love to ask a question to kind of kickstart the brains of our students. about your career.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
So you mentioned that you've worked for Bergdorf Goodman, which is a very, very high level luxury store, right? Everybody knows Bergdorf Goodman in New York City. We talk about it in my retail class, of course. So Bergdorf Goodman, you've worked there for 26 years and you've had an excellent experience, and you started as Christmas help. And since then, you have learned so much, and you have grown so much. What kind of advice would you give to our students about opportunities and growth in our field?
Well, I think that there are many opportunities, and I think that even if it isn't your dream job when you start, everything leads to something else, to someone you meet, and how that person introduces you to someone or something else, and you grow. And so I'm a big believer in taking advantage of opportunities and really milking every opportunity there is to participate in things, because that's what makes you who you are. That's what helps you develop your style. It helps teach you everything you need to know, and you take those lessons and you take those thoughts with you, and it propels you as you go on. They're like rungs on a ladder. Every opportunity is a step up closer to where you want to be. And at my age, when I look back and I say, wow, I complained so much when I was in advertising about drawing storyboards and learning about film and whatever. But all of that has been such a blessing and has taught me so much. And look how it's influenced the stylist in Hillary Says. So I wouldn't have that if I didn't have the exposure to all that knowledge. And that comes from taking advantage of opportunities.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hillary. Are you ready for some student questions?
I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. So I'd love to introduce one of our esteemed students, Maya Rimpsey. She wants to ask you a question.
Hi, Maya.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I first wanted to say I was looking at your Instagram last night, and if you aren't on TikTok, I really think you should, because I love your content and I think it would be a great addition to that platform. But I also just wanted to ask about how you sort of described yourself as like a Renaissance woman, having all of these different passions for different arts, which I think a lot of relate to. I know for me, my passion for theater and music transitioned me into fashion. I wanted to sort of ask, how did you manage to focus all of those things into driving you towards fashion and not getting confused with all of those loves and different paths?
I think just by doing, the more I did things, and the more people that influenced me, I think kind of sorted it out. It weeded it out. Like when I worked for my uncle, I loved drawing fashion figures. There used to be something that would say, draw a Winky. They were contests in a magazine, and you would draw it and submit it. And I would win. And I realized I could draw well. So I used to copy fashion figures in the magazines because I loved to draw. And my uncle took those drawings and he framed them and put them all around his showroom on 7th Avenue. So one day, Oscar de la Renta, but he wasn't Oscar de la Renta at the time, he was looking for a job, and he came to my uncle to interview, and he wanted to know who did all the drawings, So, and the next thing you know, he was Oscar de la Renta, and I knew him when he was alive and while I was working at Bergdorf. So you meet all the different people as you go. The more opportunities you take advantage of, the more experiences you allow yourself to have, the more you know if you fall in love with it. I fell in love with it. With each experience, I just knew that that's what I wanted.
That was a great question, Maya.
It was a great question.
I think
I'm going to check out TikTok. As soon as I figure out Instagram, I'll figure out TikTok.
Hillary, something that's great about my students is they're so constructive, and I always tell them I learn just as much from them as they do from me. So
100%.
yes, comments like that make you better. You know, we're here thinking we're going to introduce them to better things, but this brings us positive feedback too. So
Well, I learned pretty much everything about a lot of social media from my own kids and from my work kids.
Yeah.
So that's how you learn. One of my daughters is in marketing at an ad agency, and she always tells me something. And my son, who is brilliant at marketing, he tells me things. And my daughter, who's a corporate litigator, is very fashion oriented. So she always tells me things, you know, and gives me a critique on things. I mean, it's just, you know, that's how you learn.
and you found a way to make it all your own in such a beautiful, artistic,
Thank
creative
you.
way. So I think that's what Maya is seeing, that you had so many different passions and you found a way to bring them together in such a cohesive way that is very, very appealing to many different age groups and different target markets.
Also circumstances too. Don't negate circumstances. You find yourself in different circumstances, whether it's, well, if you're getting a divorce or if you're getting married or if it's COVID. Like if COVID didn't hit, there might not be the stylist that Hillary says. That might not have gone anywhere. So circumstances often open the door to, or push you, give you a nudge to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. And never be afraid to ask for help. Because if you don't ask for help, you don't get answers, you don't grow, and you don't learn anything.
Awesome. I'm going to introduce our next student because now the questions are starting to come in. So I'm going to introduce my next student, Kelsey Chamberlain, to ask you a question.
Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, I'm a senior in the fashion merchandising program, and I was like super intrigued by you having experience in the advertising industry, and you had said that it helped you as you entered the fashion industry. So I was just wondering, are there like skills that when you entered the fashion industry that you were surprised you would need, or that like things that you learned that you thought you never would have had to like know or do?
Definitely. I definitely didn't think when I was in advertising, I didn't think it would pay off that way. Some things I resented having to do, and I hated it, whether it was working weekends or working on a car pitch. It was not necessarily what I wanted to do. I loved film, so that was definitely an influence on me. And I always loved old movies, and I was always drawn to the way women dressed back then. Audrey Hepburn is my fashion idol of all, but there was Grace Kelly and a whole bunch of others I used to watch. My father had two younger sisters who used to babysit me, and to shut me up, they'd watch movies with me. And, you know, I used to watch all those old Hollywood icons and the way they dressed in Alfred Hitchcock movies and other things, and just always stuck with me. It's what I loved. But definitely the things that you will learn every step of the way, whether you realize it or not, they influence you, and they wind up a tool that you can apply to the way that you do it. So if you're in merchandising and let's say you want to be a buyer, if that's something you wanted to do, then things that you do, that you see, that you read or watch on TV may influence you 5 years from now when you get a job at Bergdorf Goodman in the buying department. And you may want to make suggestions based on things in your past experience that lead you to believe this is a direction to go in for buying. So, you know, it definitely pays off, you know.
Thank you.
Okay, let me get to the next one. Sorry, we have quite a few, so I have to scroll up. How do I scroll up on this? Okay, here we go. Who is next?
This is a lot like Ask Hillary.
It is. Emily, do you
It's
want
like our segment, Ask Hillary, except I don't have any examples to show you.
Emily Miller, who was one of the people that introduced you, would like to ask a question.
Hi, Emily, and thanks for that great introduction.
Hi, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to come and speak to us. I did have a question. I was wondering, what has the biggest challenge in your career been so far?
It's always, I'm kind of a control freak, right, girls? So I think the biggest challenge is that I'm not in control of everything. You know, I would love to have more participation in certain things, you know, not that I have to control it all, but just that I could have more influence over the buying aspect. You know, I'm sometimes not available, or they go to Europe and I'm here running my business. It's very hard to often be able to participate, though there's pretty good synergy and open conversation here for me to do some of that. But I always regret that I can't do more of that, or maybe even all of that, because I love, you know, shaping everything and getting what I want. And they may want to buy this certain sweater in the long length, and I think it should be bought in the short length. So, you know, so sometimes we have to compromise, you know, so sometimes there are challenges there in compromise, you know, compromising, you know, but I work it out. You work it out.
Great. Thank you. How about Bella? We have Bella Bitten is going to ask a question.
Hello, I'm Bella. I'm a senior
Bella.
fashion merch major. So my question was, what was a moment in your career where you felt most fulfilled or proud? And what do you believe helped you to get there to that moment?
Well, this is one of those moments where I feel most fulfilled and proud to think that there are however many students you are there, I don't know, 50 or whatever amount are viewing in, or that Juliana would have reached out to me. So I find it very fulfilling, the feedback and the opportunity to pass on this knowledge that I have accumulated and help others in some way, whether it's becoming fashion independent or in starting a career. If I can answer more personal questions or help you, you know, to have a positive experience in doing so. So I find that very fulfilling. And of course, the fact that the stylist in Hillary Says is doing so well. So it's very fulfilling. It's kind of a culmination where I feel like I'm maybe where I'm supposed to be after all these steps.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're going to make me cry.
Oh, no.
Of happiness, tears of joy. Megan, the other person that introduced you, Ms. Megan Patterson, would you like to ask your question next?
Yeah, hi. Thank you again for being here.
Megan.
My question was, throughout your 26 years at Bergdorf Goodman, how have you seen the fashion industry change and evolve?
Well, it changes all the time. It changes because the times change, like the seasons change. It changes because designers shift around, they leave, they move from house to house. And so the fashion changes and the looks change, but also the times change, like now we're in COVID. So now our lifestyle is more polished, comfy, cozy, and not that many people are wearing stilettos. They're wearing, you know, sneakers, fashion sneakers. So it's always changing. And I think that's what makes it exciting. And if you can be a change maker for the industry in some way, then that makes it even more exciting to see young people come into the field. You know, I'm, you know, not going to be here in the next maybe 10 years, who knows, but, you know, there are going to be you guys coming in and influencing the buys and becoming stylists and management and whatever areas you want to be in buying. So for that reason, it's ever changing.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. I'm going to give the floor to Ms. Victoria Rivkin has a question.
Hi, Victoria. I love Victoria's. I'm on my second Victoria. I had a Victoria assistant early on, and now Victoria's are great. I love them.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. I have to start off by saying you're very inspiring, and I'd love to hear about such a powerful woman as yourself, such as yourself. In the field, you really remind me of my mother, you know, overcoming anything, making the best of situations. It's great to hear another story like that. And my question for you today is, for those of us who are seniors on this call, what advice would you give us for, you know, a few months from now, we're entering the field. trying to stay very open-minded given the circumstances of COVID and a pandemic, and just, you know, all of the pressures of going into the field after graduation. What advice would you have for us?
Okay, so here's a Hillaryism kind of that I think is helpful. I didn't come up with this one. I kind of adopted it from a professor I had when I was in college that I loved. And he said, the people who don't make it are not the ones that aren't talented. They're the ones that give up. So don't give up. The first thing to having is wanting. Something my mother said, another ism I adopted, but it's true. If you want it bad enough, then keep going. I don't care how many doors slam. You can, if you listen to inspiring stories from movie stars that have finally made it, and Jewel, you know, Jewel, she slept in her car. She didn't even have a home. And now she's a superstar. So if you want it, go for it. And don't stop till you get what you want. Don't let any door that slams, because wherever a door slams, a window opens. So just keep going. You'll get there.
I totally agree. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Gosh, we have so many great students too. I'm just so inspired by our students, Victoria. Oh, you're amazing. Athena, my Athena. I'd like to introduce Athena real quick as someone that is also in the luxury industry. I took her to China with me, and she has a huge passion for luxury, and she's currently working in a job that is a secondhand sort of vintage luxury business. So she has a question for you, because I know she's really feels a kinship with you already. Go ahead, Athena.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Athena.
So my question was, since COVID has changed the fashion industry in so many unexpected ways lately, how has it changed your day-to-day, or how are your virtual appointments going?
Yeah, that's speaking of challenges, that's definitely been a challenge. So some people aren't shopping. They're not shopping the way they used to, or they're not shopping at all because they're home with the kids in their Lululemons and they don't go anywhere. They don't go out to dinner or whatever, or they're not even staying in the city. They're living in their country house. So they don't go anywhere. So there are challenges there. I had 2 appointments today in the store. So it varies day to day. People tend to buy less. People tend to be more targeted towards things they're really going to use. And then there are people who say to me, oh, Hillary, you did your job so well. I don't need anything. You gave me everything and everything is great. I'm using it. And I'm like, I shot myself in the foot, you know. But the truth is that is my job, is to make sure that you have a good wardrobe. My clients, I mean, a wardrobe is something you build. It's not disposable, especially at the precious prices of luxury goods. And I just think that people are being more targeted and they're buying what they need, and it's not any less finery, and it's fine. Things will change again. It's a cycle. So COVID will end. Certain things will start to come back. Cozy, polished, cozy, comfy, I believe is here to stay. I don't think that's a trend that's ever going to go away. So that's a change that happened, and it just evolves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And Destiny, do you want to ask your question? Where are you?
I'm right here.
There you go. There's my girl, Destiny.
Hi, Destiny.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for speaking with us today. I just wanted to say, as you mentioned, within your career, you cater to a variety of customer types with all sorts of personalities and tastes. Just out of curiosity, do you have your own personal customer archetypes, whether it's based on recurring styles you see or certain shopping behaviors, or could that be a potential blog post?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you asking me if there's a certain look or type that I like to do especially?
Or certain, I would say, like customer categories or different types of just customers that you see, whether they're people who are more into like a Renaissance type of style, and those are the clothes that they're inspired by that have like, I guess, specific elements or embellishments, from that time period, or another customer who was a little bit more, I would say, into streetwear, more high-end streetwear with
Well,
like
I
leather
love all of, oh, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I
you're fine.
I love all of fashion. So everything from streetwear to haute couture. I love it all. And I love the opportunity to do that with clients and different clients, or introduce clients who've never had haute couture to haute couture, or, you know, put a little street style in someone who wouldn't expect it. I do like to, you know, introduce clients, and also I just think I get pleasure out of making somebody look and feel their best, helping them build their wardrobe, you know, and, you know, fashion is one thing, style is a completely different thing. Fashion is a name, it's Coco Chanel, it's a tweeted jacket, but style is how that person wears it. And every single one of my clients are different. They have different body types, different lifestyles, different needs, likes. I have clients that won't wear red. I have clients that won't wear a skirt above their knee because they hate their knees. There's all kinds of constraints that direct me when I go pull for a client, but I like to help people develop their style. That's what I think it is. And it's always different, and all of it is exciting.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That should be another Hillaryism, is fashion and style are different, and the way that you just described it was amazing.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
It's definitely one of them.
So anyone, is there anyone,
Definitely one of them.
is there anyone else that wants to send a question through or ask a question? Roman, are you about to ask a question? Do we have any of my boys that maybe want to ask a
Oh
question?
yeah, come on, I love shopping for guys.
Don't be afraid. She also creates content for men, so do not be afraid.
I do, and I have a lot of men clients, and even husbands like me.
See?
Even though their wives may spend a lot or something, they still love me.
Yes. So, and you can also ask questions about designers, right? If there's designers that you're interested in. I'd like to introduce really quickly Julia Eberens, who's on the call. She'd like to ask a question.
Hi, it's so nice to have you here tonight.
Oh, thank you, Julia.
So I just wanted to ask a quick question about like the social media aspect of your job and how just like the whole journey was getting engagement and how you kind of found your following and how you set up the magazine to coincide with the Instagram. I just found that really interesting.
Well, one of the things that I was passionate about was that I think looking luxury, feeling like you're in something luxurious, is not something that maybe luxury goods aren't afforded to everybody. Not everybody can afford an expensive Chanel jacket, but there are options that can give you the same look or sense of style and luxury in a price point that you can afford. And I don't care if you're 16 or if you're 80. So when you notice about the stylists, Holly, Victoria, and I work very hard to make sure we have things in all price points as often as possible. So we'll choose pretty earrings for $190 that are more affordable, but still look luxurious or can be worn with something pretty on a special night. And we show earrings for $110,000, and we don't blink about that. There should be something for everybody on our page. So that's very important to me, and I never discriminate. I give the same high quality service and attention to every one of my clients, whether they spend $5 a year or $5 million a year. I'm really touched by loyalty and by people who come back and care about me, because I always care about my clients, and I'll always go the extra mile for them, always. Regardless of Bergdorf, outside of Bergdorf, on my own personal time, whatever it is. Very important to me. So.
And that was something I loved.
That's how I roll.
When I first talked to Hillary, something I loved about her was she said, I have clients that spend $2,000 a year, and I have clients that spend $2 million a year, and they are both styled very well, because no matter, she will make something work for $2,000 a year, and she will make it work for $200,000 a year. It didn't matter to her. It was just about the style, very much not even about the fashion, about the way you style and the way you carry yourself. So that was something I loved hearing from her, because she is very accessible. And as you see, even her conversation, very accessible, very easy to talk to.
It's also, I like helping people. So I had a young girl once, she actually lived in my building, and she had had a baby and she wasn't working, and her husband needed her to go back to work. So she said, I don't have the money to spend on a wardrobe. Can you help me? I said, sure. She said, I need to, I'm in real estate. I need to be in a suit. I need to be able to, you know, show people properties and look well and professional. So she gave me a very small budget. It was not $2,000. And I was able to get her a great suit and a great shoe and top and a skirt to match so she could mix the three pieces up. And we started building from there. And today she has a great wardrobe and she's doing very well in real estate. And it's just, you know, it meant the world to me to be able to help her. And we spent a lot of time together, and it didn't matter to me that she wasn't going to spend $5 million. You know, it mattered to me that she got what she needed, that she looked great, you know, because, you know, I always say this, when my clients say, do you really think this looks good on me? I say, I think you look super duper chic. And I say, let me just tell you, I have more to lose than you do. If you walk down the aisle for your child's wedding in a gown that looks terrible on you, people are going to say, ooh, who got her that gown? Hillary? Who's Hillary? Don't go to Hillary. Look what she did. So it was very important to me because it's my reputation at stake too. But I just love to help people.
Hillary, we have 2 questions left, and I don't want to take up too much time, but we do have a question from one of my boys, my boy, Evan. Evan Kohler, I want to introduce you to ask a question to Hillary.
Hi, Evan.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So my question is, you kind of answered it already, but are there specific qualifications for clients that you stylize? And what's your intake process like when getting a client?
What do you mean qualifications? Do they have to meet qualifications? No.
Yeah. What's your process? Do you just take anyone if someone were to DM you?
No, like, first of all, to make this clear, personal shopping is a free service. There's no fee. So you don't pay for it. Though people usually don't seek a personal shopper just to find a cardigan sweater, a random person, you know, someone that you work with and you've developed their wardrobe and you get them things along, might call you and say, hey, you know, I need a little black cardigan. But I'm just saying there's no minimums. I don't roll like that. I would not work like that anyway. So no, there's no criteria. If you want help, just reach out.
Awesome. And our last question of the night is going to be from Alexis Godwin. Alexis, do you want to ask?
Yeah, hi, thank you for being here. I just wanted to know what your opinion is on how the industry is moving towards a more body positive and inclusive environment.
I love that. I think it's really, really important. Actually, today, I had a first appointment with a woman who was referred to me by someone I had worked with in the past, and she doesn't love her body. She didn't want anything tight. She wanted a big loose thing. And it was like, you know, putting a big loose thing doesn't, I mean, yes, it hides, you can't see your body underneath that, but it doesn't make you look smaller or like you have a good body, and everybody's body is good in some way. So if you're really big all over, but you have great legs, then we're going to show off those legs. We're going to find you looks that play to your positives and that make you feel comfortable. It's most important to feel comfortable in whatever you're wearing, or you won't gravitate toward it in your closet. It would just be a waste of money. So we found her the perfect gown. It did everything. It showed her body, but not too tight, so she didn't feel uncomfortable. And in an hour and a half, she had a dress for her daughter's wedding.
I love to hear that. All right, everybody, time is up, but I would like to ask Hillary if it is okay if we get a picture of the whole class and then maybe with her assistants next to her afterward, maybe one just with you, Hillary, and then one also with your assistants in there.
Yes.
To my introducees, so Megan and Emily, if you could take some screenshots of us. So we'll do, what should we do? 1, 2, 3, Hillary says.
Am I supposed to say that?
No, I'm gonna do it, and then we're gonna take the picture. Or Emily and Megan, you should do it because you'll have the timing. So you say it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hillary says. Okay.
And now, Hillary, if your girls can come in and squat down so we can see you, if you don't mind, girls. Thank you so much for all the help
We're so perfect.
So happy to have you here, girls. Thank you. Go ahead, Megan.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Hillary says. All right. Good.
Thank you for that.
So
Thank you.
We can give Miss Hillary Tannenbaum Weinstein a beautiful round of applause and thank you from Jefferson.
Thank you, everybody.
You can't hear them, but they're all saying thank you and clapping on their Zoom.
Oh, I see the emoji, the clap emoji.
Some people are sending emojis. Thank you so, so much for this, beautiful chat and the chats I've had with you as well. Please, everybody, follow Hillary. And thank you.
Yes, follow me on Hillary Says, at Hillary Says, and please DM me or give us a call if you have additional questions or we can help direct you in any way. We often can connect people for jobs, not just at Bergdorf Goodman, but in the industry, sort of make some connections so we get the word. So good luck to everyone and listen to what Hillary has to say, I guess.
Yes, thank you. And Hillary's also on LinkedIn. So as a professional connection, you can connect with her on LinkedIn. Okay.
I don't go on LinkedIn really much or even Facebook really much. So if you don't hear right away, it's always best to DM me on at Hillary Says. That's the fastest. And my contact information is there. If you really want a quick answer, just reach out and call me.
Great,
okay.
Great.
Don't hesitate.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you, girls.
Thank you, Juliana.
Robin and Hillary's children and everyone else that joined us and came on. We appreciate your support. And Jefferson loves you. We all love you. And we can't wait to host you back, hopefully in person very, very soon.
I would love to do that. So as soon as we can do that, please let me know.
And we'll be talking to you soon, Hillary.
Thank
you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.